I am legitimately staring at a blank wall right now in absolute unmitigated disbelief. My jaw is on the floor.
Honestly, I don't think my jaw has recovered since the episode ended.
No, it's permanently unhinged. Babes, welcome back. You are beautiful, you are smart, and babes, you are our goddamn bestie. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, welcome back to the Snark Squad. We need you here today because we are completely unwell.
So unwell, because today we have to unpack the absolute train wreck that is Season 3, Episode 9 of The Valley. The episode is fittingly titled, Till Debt Do Us Part.
A very literal title, as it turns out.
Very literal, because we need to figure out how a grown man, like a fully formed adult, can squander a $300,000 loan, refuse to pay a $200 medical bill for his own child, and then, sit at a coffee shop acting like he is the victim.
Oh, the victim complex is staggering. Truly staggering.
And we also need to get into the deeply uncomfortable, psychological warfare of a so-called family man who gets blackout drunk, terrorizes women, and somehow has half his friend group completely brainwashed.
Right. They are actively defending his atrocious behavior. It is a lot to process.
It's so much.
The level of delusion we just witnessed on our screens is, behavioral scientists are going to be writing dissertations on this group for decades. We're looking at a masterclass in deflection.
A masterclass. But wait, before we even get into the absolute wreckage of this show, we need to talk about something crucial.
We do. We need to address the beverage situation.
Yes. Babes, we need to give a massive shout out to our girl Samantha from the Snark Squad because she slid into our DMs this week and told us we desperately needed to try a ranch water.
Which I was highly skeptical of, I will admit.
I know you were. But babes, I think we might actually be in love. I am fully spiraling right now. I am already planning an entire ranch water summer. It is all I want to consume.
I will readily admit when I am wrong. When you first read me that DM, I was like, no, tequila, Topo Chico, and fresh lime juice. It sounds entirely fake.
It sounds so fake.
Right. It sounds like a beverage invented by some 22-year-old lifestyle influencer in Austin just to justify day drinking on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Analytically speaking, it just sounded way too simple to be good.
But it tastes incredible. It is the most crisp, refreshing, deeply dangerous thing I have ever had.
Dangerously smooth, yeah.
And the weirdest part is that drinking it just makes me feel weirdly cool. I am suddenly pretending I am this effortless, wealthy girl lounging at an exclusive desert resort.
You're visualizing the entire aesthetic.
Yes. I'm in an oversized linen button-down, I've got massive tortoiseshell sunglasses on, and I'm just completely ignoring my entirely non-existent trust fund.
That is the power of tequila.
It really is. I took exactly one sip and I was like, I am a new woman. My credit score is magically 800. I own equestrian horses now.
It is genuinely fascinating how tequila alters the human personality on a cellular level. As your resident, entirely unofficial tequila sommelier.
I've drank exactly one glass, by the way.
Hey, one glass is enough data. But I've analyzed why this drink works. The reason simple drinks hit the hardest is because there is absolutely nowhere for the alcohol to hide.
No, exactly. It's just right there.
Right. You aren't masking the liquor with an artificial sour mix or heavy syrups that give you a migraine before you even finish the drink. It was pure agave confidence delivered straight to your bloodstream via aggressive carbonation.
The carbonation is so aggressive, the Topo Chico bubbles just burn your throat in the absolute best way possible.
It's a rapid transit delivery system for elevated self-esteem.
I love that. But honestly, speaking of elevated self-esteem and questionable money situations, before we started recording, we're spiraling on TikTok, and we need to discuss something with the Snark Squad.
We need to consult the jury on this one.
We do. Can we talk about child support for a minute? Because my algorithm fed me absolute chaos this morning.
The algorithm has our exact psychological profile down to a science. It just consistently feeds us the most polarizing legal dramas when we are just trying to wake up.
Literally. So babes, let me explain this TikTok story. There is this incredibly wealthy guy, right? Massive wealth, generational money, private jets, the whole thing.
Real wealth.
Yeah. His baby mama takes him to court and asks the family court judge for the full entire child support amount up front. In one single lump sum payment.
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million just handed over on day one.
Yeah.
And the judge outright denied it, even though the father clearly had the liquid cash just sitting there. And I have to say, I am emotionally siding with the mother immediately.
Well, of course you are. You always lead with the heart.
But listen to my reasoning. Just think about the agonizing daily stress of having to rely on monthly payments from a toxic ex for 18 years.
18 years is a long time,
It's
yes.
forever. Every single month, you are sitting there waiting for that direct deposit to hit. What if he gets mad because you started dating someone new? What if he weaponizes the stipend?
Financial abuse is very real.
Exactly. What if he funnels his wealth into offshore accounts and claims he's broke? If he has the millions right now, just give her the bag. Hand her the $1 million so she can invest it and never have to text this infuriating man about a late Venmo ever again.
Okay, allow me to morph into a fake lawyer for like 15 minutes here.
Oh boy, here we go.
Because the legal and financial ramifications of a lump sum are staggering. Analytically speaking, handing any human being a tax-free lump sum of over $1 million is incredibly dangerous.
That's for the kid.
I know, but does the family court trust this individual not to put that entire $1 million into a volatile cryptocurrency startup?
Oh, okay, that's a fair point.
Or a terrible restaurant investment? What if she hands it over to a new spouse who mismanages it? If she loses that money in year 2, the child still has 16 years of financial needs, but the father has already fulfilled his legal obligation.
Ugh, I hate when you make logical sense. But wealthy people shouldn't be allowed to hold the purse strings forever. It's all about power and control.
Oh, it absolutely is about power. But child support is legally designed by the state to support the child's ongoing daily needs, not to act as a lottery payout for the custodial parent.
Yeah, I guess.
Although I will concede one thing. Incredibly wealthy people operate in a completely different financial ecosystem. The argument could be made that an irrevocable trust should be established.
Oh, a trust. That's smart.
Right, the father funds the trust up front, and a neutral third-party trustee disperses the monthly amount.
Okay, see, that solves everything. But honestly, what really got me about this whole situation was the comments section.
TikTok comments are a lawless wasteland.
It's the Wild West. It immediately turns into a full Supreme Court debate. You have high schoolers named like Skylar_04 aggressively debating fiduciary duty with zero legal qualifications.
Everyone on the internet suddenly has a law degree.
Literally. Half the comments are screaming, "Secure the bag, queen," and the other half are acting like IRS auditors. But honestly, if I were her, I'd still want the money up front so I could buy a fortified compound, disappear into the woods, and live in peace.
Which is deeply relatable.
Right. But, transitioning from wanting to disappear in the woods to another form of giving up on society entirely, I have a confession to make.
Oh, we are exposing ourselves
They
today.
have to come clean. Babes, if you are hanging out with us right now, you need to know our current footwear situation.
We have abandoned all pretense of glamour.
We are currently wearing our Croc slippers, both of us, sitting right here. And honestly, I need to ask you, when the hell did Crocs become cool?
I have absolutely no idea, but I am fully indoctrinated.
Because I used to judge them so harshly. I would look at people wearing them in the grocery store and just think, like, have you simply given up on life? Are you okay?
They were the ultimate symbol of defeat.
They were. But now, I am deeply emotionally attached to comfort culture. Getting older literally just means prioritizing foot support over looking cute. My arches demand respect. Okay.
It is the ultimate fashion cycle of irony. I am looking at my feet right now, and I am one step away from buying matching Crocs for every single outfit I own.
I want all the colors.
Analytically, it's just how the fashion cycle works. Profoundly ugly things inevitably become high fashion because the industry runs out of ways to innovate aesthetically.
Wait, that is so true.
Right. Like Balenciaga puts a massive platform on a basic rubber gardening clog, slaps a $900 price tag on it, and suddenly the collective consciousness shifts.
We start wearing them ironically at first.
Exactly, as a joke.
How?
And then the sheer comfort traps us. It is literally a hostage situation for your feet.
I am a willing hostage to the marshmallow foam. I low-key want them in pastel lavender. I am fully ready to wear them to a nice dinner and just dare anyone to say something.
I support this journey for you.
Thank you. But okay, babes, enough spiraling about our footwear because we need to get into this episode. We have been holding this inside for days.
We need to unpack the wreckage. We have financial fraud, emotional manipulation, medical melodrama. Where do you even want to begin?
We have to start with Michelle, Jesse, and what I am officially calling the $300,000 COVID grift.
Oh, a perfectly accurate title.
Right. So the setup for this scene is pure reality television cinema. Michelle and Lala go for a hike at Runyon Canyon.
Classic Los Angeles aesthetic.
Totally. They're in their matching athleisure sets, probably drinking $12 green juices, breathing in the smog, and pretending to exercise while actually just gossiping.
As one does.
And Michelle just casually drops the most insane financial bomb I have heard in years.
Yes. The casual nature of her delivery is what stunned me. She delivered this information with the emotional affect of someone talking about what they had for lunch.
Literally. She reveals to Lala that during the height of COVID, Jesse secretly took out a $300,000 small business administration loan.
An SBA loan.
Yes. He kept it entirely hidden from her, put the entire $300 grand into his own personal checking account, and then completely blew it. All of it.
Let's actually break down the sheer delusion of Jesse's spending here, because we need to talk about the mechanics of this.
Please do.
An SBA loan during that period was designed by the government to keep struggling businesses afloat. It was meant for payroll, to ensure employees didn't lose their livelihoods during a crisis.
Right, to pay the rent for the business.
Exactly. We're not talking about a man who took out a business loan and tragically failed while trying to save a boutique real estate agency. We're talking about a man who took government relief funds and decided to live like a minor European royal.
A minor European royal. I'm screaming.
Michelle admitted he dropped $100,000 on a 3-week luxury trip to the UK with his parents and his brother.
$100 grand. On a family vacation. Who takes their parents on a vacation funded by government relief money?
It included a private helicopter tour of the Scottish Highlands. Yes, he took SBA funds meant for economic disaster relief and used them to look at castles from the sky while drinking champagne.
I feel sick.
And now, predictably, the loan has defaulted. It is literally in collections.
Yeah.
And the bank is demanding a $30,000 upfront fee just to restructure the debt so he doesn't get sued into oblivion.
And he has the absolute audacity to ask his soon-to-be ex-wife to pay half of that initial fee.
The unmitigated gall.
This is where I start to see red. Like, I am vibrating with rage just thinking about it. Jesse looks Michelle in the eye at this coffee shop and claims he cannot even afford his $15,000 half of the fee.
Right, he's broke.
But it gets worse. He tells her he cannot afford the $200 monthly premium for his 6-year-old daughter Isabella's health insurance.
Which is just, the lowest of the low.
If he can't afford $200 for his own child's basic medical care, how on earth is he constantly buying expensive imported wine? How is he wearing designer loafers on camera? Where is the money coming from?
Well, it's the classic archetype of the image-obsessed narcissist. The exterior facade of wealth must be maintained at all costs, even if the structural foundation is entirely rotten.
It's all a show.
Completely. If he stops buying the wine, if he stops wearing the loafers, he has to admit to his highly competitive social circle that he is actually broke.
Which he would rather die than do.
Exactly. As for how he is currently funding this charade, we have to look at the new variables in the equation.
You mean his new girlfriend, Lacey?
Precisely.
Is she his sugar mama now? Is she footing the bill for the luxury lifestyle so he can continue to pretend he is this high-rolling luxury broker?
It is highly probable that his new partner is subsidizing his delusions of grandeur, yes.
Because Lala called it out perfectly on the hike. She didn't hold back at all. She just flat out said he's a clown. Health insurance is the bare minimum for a child.
Lala was incredibly accurate there. But honestly, the crowning jewel of this entire financial disaster was the ambush at the coffee shop.
Oh my God, the coffee shop.
I have to applaud Michelle. Her producer-level execution of this scene deserves an Emmy nomination.
It was legendary. Reality TV history was made at that little cafe table.
Break it down for us.
Okay, so she meets him for coffee. Looking completely calm, she reiterates that she wants a divorce. She just wants to be free of the chaos.
And Jesse does exactly what toxic men do when they want to maintain control.
Yes. He tries to stall. He leans back, gives her this incredibly smug, condescending look and says, well, there are really no papers to sign right now, so we're just talking.
The gaslighting.
And Michelle does not miss a single beat. She pulls a power move for the ages. She calmly reaches into her fake Dior dupe bag, pulls out a massive, thick stack of legal documents, and says, actually, there are papers to be signed right now.
Iconic.
And she slaps the divorce papers right on the table in front of his iced latte. I was screaming.
Snatching the legal documents from the Dior dupe was pure poetry. It was a tactical precision strike.
It really was.
Jesse was completely trapped by the cameras. He had carefully built this narrative that the divorce was just this vague, abstract, future concept, keeping Michelle in a psychological holding pattern.
Right, like, oh, we're just separating, we're figuring it out.
Exactly. But by producing the physical binding documents in a public filmed setting, she entirely shattered his illusion of control.
He couldn't spin it anymore. But honestly, I was legitimately crying. When Michelle started tearing up at the table, I felt it in my soul.
It was very heavy.
She looked at him completely exhausted and said she was willing to take on half of that $300,000 debt. She is literally sacrificing $150,000 of her own money just to escape him.
Just to buy her freedom.
Yes, to not be legally tied to this man forever. You could see the bone-deep exhaustion in her eyes.
It is an incredibly steep financial price. But if we do a cost-benefit analysis...
Only you would do a cost-benefit analysis on a divorce.
Well, analytically, buying your peace of mind for $150,000 is often significantly cheaper than fighting a narcissist in court for 10 years.
Ah, the lawyer fees alone.
The billable hours would have destroyed her, not to mention the immense psychological toll of endless litigation. She made a highly strategic, albeit deeply painful calculation to cut her losses and run.
She is paying a ransom. That's what it is. Jesse's control is financial, and it's overt. You can look at a bank statement and see the damage. But what actually terrifies me more is the insidious, covert psychological control that leaves no paper trail.
Ah, yes. We're moving into darker territory.
Which brings us to the dynamic that is making my skin crawl. Darkside Danny and the Enabler group chat. Babes, this entire situation is so dark.
It is arguably the most uncomfortable dynamic currently airing on reality television. It is a live-action case study in toxic relationship dynamics.
It really is. So Kristen and Zach decide to pull Nia aside at Kristen's house. They are trying to have a gentle, supportive intervention about Danny's verbal abuse and his aggressive behavior when he drinks.
Referring back to the San Diego trip.
Exactly. And I got so deeply emotional watching Nia in this scene because she is working so hard to protect Danny.
She's in pure survival mode.
She really is. She's wearing the baby in the little front carrier, gently bouncing the baby, and you can practically see her entire nervous system just light up with panic the second his name is brought up.
We are witnessing classic enabler behavior in real time here.
The deflection was instant.
Instant deflection. When an enabler is confronted with their partner's abusive tendencies, they instantly pivot to whataboutism. It is a psychological defense mechanism known as DARVO.
Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Exactly. She immediately claims that everyone else in the group gets blackout drunk too. She specifically points her finger at Zach and Brittany.
Which is such a wild comparison.
She argues that they get sloppy and intense, so why is everyone constantly targeting Danny?
She just kept repeating, why does Danny have a target on his back?
And here is where we need to push back on Nia's defense, and where a lot of the online discourse is absolutely spot on.
Yes, let's get into it.
Yes, Zach gets drunk and yells loudly about trivial nonsense. Brittany gets drunk, takes too many shots, and falls over. But their drunkenness is generalized, harmless chaos.
Exactly. Zach isn't cornering women in pantries?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
When Danny gets drunk, the underlying anger emerges, and he becomes highly specific in his aggression. He specifically targets, verbally attacks, and creeps on women.
It's always the women.
Always. He went after Jasmine last season. He was entirely inappropriate with Melissa. He screams viciously at his own wife in public settings. The behavioral pattern is undeniably gendered and predatory.
Predatory is the exact right word. And seeing Nia manipulate the narrative to equate Danny's targeted, aggressive harassment with Brittany simply eating too much Taco Bell at 2 in the morning is such an uncomfortable coping mechanism.
It's deeply sad to watch.
She is trying to survive a very dark, abusive marriage dynamic by normalizing it.
Right, because in her mind, if she admits the group is right about Danny, she has to admit that her marriage is fundamentally unsafe.
And that her kids are in a volatile environment.
Exactly. It is psychologically much easier to attack the messengers, Kristen and Zach, than to hold her husband accountable and face the terrifying prospect of dismantling her life.
It's heartbreaking. But then we have Danny's reaction when he is eventually confronted, which is the dictionary definition of playing the victim.
Oh, the sulking.
He sits there sulking on the couch, claiming, oh, I have a target on my back. I have a wellness coach and a therapist now, so I'm doing the work.
The therapy speak is weaponized.
I completely reject his fake accountability.
Having a therapist on retainer does not magically absolve you of terrorizing the women in your friend group.
No, it does not.
You do not get a gold star for hiring a holistic wellness coach while you are actively screaming at your wife in front of your friends.
The hypocrisy is staggering.
But honestly, the most frustrating part of this entire storyline, the part that actually made me want to throw my croc slipper directly through my flat screen, is the Jasmine and Lala situation at the crab boil. Yes, the disparity in how the larger group treats these two specific women is glaring, and it has sparked a massive conversation online.
Let's break down exactly what happened at that dinner table. So Lala is sitting there crying, shedding actual tears because she claims she is triggered by seeing a man, meaning Danny, yell at a woman.
She centers herself completely.
Entirely. She is taking Danny's terrifying abuse of his wife and making it entirely about her own past trauma. She is centering herself in someone else's domestic nightmare.
And what does the group do?
Kristen, Zach, everyone at the table, they coddle her, they validate Lala's feelings, they wrap her in this warm, protective blanket of sympathy.
Or Jasmine.
Right. Jasmine, who Danny actually crossed physical boundaries with last season, who was a direct, actual victim of his creeping, tries to speak up to share her perspective, and she is completely ignored.
It is significantly worse than being ignored. She is actively dismissed and silenced.
Yes, she is.
Jasmine later has a confessional interview that is arguably the most important, resonant moment of the entire season.
It really was.
Looking at the discourse online, many viewers are pointing out the complex intersectional dynamics here. Jasmine states very clearly to the camera, she's a black, gay woman, and she is forced to wonder aloud if her race and her sexuality are the underlying reasons why Kristen and the rest of the group completely dismiss her feelings and her actual lived trauma, but immediately coddle a white, straight woman like Lala for merely witnessing something adjacent to trauma.
It honestly broke my heart. Jasmine is sitting at that table trying to express her pain. She is trying to say, hey, I didn't get this level of support or a protective circle when he actually attacked me.
In Kristen's response.
Kristen looks directly at her and says, Jasmine, you're drunk.
The ultimate deflection.
Kristen telling Jasmine she is drunk when Jasmine is trying to express valid emotional pain is such a dark manipulation tactic. Based on all the think pieces I've read this week, people are calling it a textbook example of silencing a woman of color by invalidating her reality and questioning her sobriety.
It is an insidious form of tone policing. By accusing Jasmine of being intoxicated, Kristen attempts to strip Jasmine of her credibility in real time. It effectively shields the rest of the group from having to confront their own implicit biases.
Because it's easier to just call her drunk.
Exactly. It is psychologically much easier for the group to tell Jasmine she is just emotional than to admit they completely failed to protect her from Danny because they prioritize their comfort with the traditional heteronormative couple over her basic safety.
It is just so gross to watch unfold. Kristen did eventually give a half-baked apology at lunch later in the episode, but the damage was already done. Jasmine's tears in that confessional were so raw and real.
You can tell she feels like an outsider.
A complete outsider in her own friend group, constantly having to beg for basic empathy. And it's staggering to watch Jasmine's very real emotional trauma be completely dismissed by this group, while in the exact same episode, Jason experiences a physical injury and the entire neighborhood mobilizes like it's a national tragedy.
A jarring transition, I know, but a necessary one to examine the bizarre priorities of this social circle.
We desperately need a palate cleanser from the darkness of Danny. Let's move to the medical marvels and tragic men of the valley, specifically Brittany and Jason.
Let's start with Brittany's surgery, please.
Yes, because I am hyping up her mommy makeover so hard, she is getting a full tummy tuck, liposuction, and a breast reduction.
And we need to celebrate this moment.
We need to throw ticker tape parade, because this is the symbolic physical shedding of the massive, terrible implants that Jax Taylor originally bought for her and heavily pressured her into keeping for years.
It is quite literally an exorcism via plastic surgery.
She is physically cutting Jax's toxic influence out of her body. It's a rebirth.
Removing those specific implants is the physical manifestation of reclaiming her bodily autonomy after years of a deeply controlling relationship. I fully support the medical procedure.
You're allowed to see it.
However, the pre-surgery festivities were confusing, to say the least.
You mean the crab boil?
Yes, the crab boil.
Why did she host a massive, messy crab boil the night before, undergoing major reconstructive surgery?
I must pause to mock this event.
Please do.
Brittany orders a massive, incredibly messy seafood boil to her pristine, luxury suburban kitchen. and everyone is sitting around the island wearing plastic bibs, violently struggling to crack open crab legs with their bare hands.
It was so aggressive.
No one knows how to properly eat them. It looks like a medieval torture chamber for crustaceans. Why is everyone struggling so hard for a tiny morsel of meat?
It looked exhausting.
And more importantly, why is Nia organizing a meal train for Brittany?
The meal train, I was screaming at my television.
Setting up a community meal train for a reality television star who is recovering from elective plastic surgery in a multi-million-dollar home is peak, unhinged suburban mom behavior.
It's so funny.
These people have Postmates. They have Uber Eats. They have the financial resources to hire private chefs for a week. They do not need Jasmine bringing over a lukewarm tuna casserole in a glass Pyrex dish to survive.
I know it's completely ridiculous, but I kind of secretly love the suburban cosplay of it all.
It's pure cosplay.
Nia is just trying to be a good traditional church girl, checking in on her neighbor. But okay, speaking of requiring a meal train, we have to talk about Jason's absolute meltdown at the boys' basketball game.
Ah, yes. The tragic, monumental fall of the suburban weekend warrior.
It was so dramatic. They are playing a casual pickup game of 2-on-2 at the local court. Jason goes down hard. And honestly, it was actually gruesome to watch.
It did look painful.
He rips a tendon, and his quad muscle completely detaches from his leg. They said his muscle rolled up his thigh like a window shade.
Disgusting visual, yes.
So the doctors tell him it is going to be a brutal 9 to 12-month recovery process, and then Jason just starts crying hysterically.
The tears were Oscar-worthy. The melodrama was Shakespearean.
He is weeping to Janet, his wife, saying he is terrified of losing the bond with his baby child because he won't be able to run around the yard with him.
Give me a break.
And part of me, like my emotional, empathetic self, actually defends Jason here. He is a really good dad. He deeply loves that little boy. And he's genuinely scared he's going to miss out on crucial developmental milestones while he's stuck on the couch.
Please.
Yeah.
I cannot indulge this.
You have no heart.
The dramatic tears were utterly absurd. I will sarcastically note that the man was acting like he was being suddenly conscripted and shipped off to a 1940s war front, terrified he would never return to see his family again.
Okay, when you put it like that.
He is not storming the beaches of Normandy. He tore a muscle playing recreational basketball. He's going to be recovering in a pristine, climate-controlled, luxury suburban home with a wife who waits on him hand and foot.
That's true.
His son is an infant. The child does not possess the cognitive awareness to know if his father is running wind sprints in the backyard or sitting on a customized orthopedic recliner in the living room.
The baby literally does not care.
The paternal bond will be absolutely fine. Feed the child a goldfish cracker, turn on Mrs. Rachel on the iPad, and relax. You have not been exiled to the Siberian tundra.
You are so incredibly cold, but you're right, the dramatics were a bit much. The man was acting like a Victorian woman with a wasting disease.
Literally.
But the transition from Jason's severe knee trauma to the group's backyard drag pageant perfectly encapsulates the absolute tonal whiplash of this show.
It is the defining characteristic of the franchise. We pivot from severe medical distress to men in cheap wigs in the span of one commercial break.
The pageant was something else entirely. Just a brief recap for anyone who missed the visual horror. The men all get into drag for a competition.
A choice.
Jesse's wearing these massive, towering Spice Girl platform heels and a long blonde wig, and shockingly, he actually slayed the runway walk.
He did have a certain grace in the heels, I'll admit.
Zach comes out with these gigantic, comical fake boobs that Brittany apparently helped contour with bronzer. And Schwartz? Poor, helpless Tom Schwartz.
Oh, tragic.
Michelle did his makeup, and he ended up looking exactly like Edna Mode from The Incredibles.
The resemblance was uncanny. I was just waiting for him to yell, "No capes."
But the winner, the grand supreme of the night, was Luke in a bright red synthetic wig. He takes the plastic crown. But winning a fake, alcohol-fueled drag pageant in a backyard does not excuse the true crime that is happening on his actual head every single day of his life.
Oh, we are finally talking about the hair. Let us initiate a shady forensic breakdown of Luke's actual everyday haircut.
Please do.
Because it is a visual assault on the eyes, and someone needs to be held accountable. Can we please talk about the ducktail mullet?
It is a crime against humanity.
It is closely tapered on the sides, completely flat on top, and then just features this bizarre, feathery curtain of stringy neck hair draping over his shirt collar.
It looks like a wet beaver tail.
Why is no one in this friend group holding an emergency intervention for this hair?
It is so bad. It makes him look like a creepy youth pastor from 1998 who plays acoustic guitar.
That is extremely specific and entirely accurate.
But honestly, the hair is the least of their relationship problems, because we need to talk about the deeply awkward tension between Kristen and Luke on their date night.
Oh, the oyster date.
Yes. They go out for oysters, ostensibly to reconnect and have a romantic evening without the baby, and the vibes were rancid.
The body language was fascinating to observe from a purely sociological standpoint.
Luke is sitting there across the table, aggressively complaining that he never gets to see Christy in her natural state anymore.
Gross.
He's openly annoyed that she is always in mom mode and focused on the kids. And Kristen looks like she desperately wants to unhinge her jaw and swallow him whole or just jump out of the restaurant window.
There is zero chemistry.
Zero. Every interaction felt so forced and resentful.
It felt exactly like watching two mid-level corporate coworkers who got stuck together during a delayed layover at an airport Chili's, desperately trying to make small talk over a plate of lukewarm Southwestern egg rolls.
Oh my God, that is exactly what it felt like.
There is absolutely no romantic baseline there. Luke's entire demeanor throughout the date suggests he wants to isolate Kristen and mold her into this subservient trad wife archetype.
Which, by the way, if you look at the internet theories about the church they are currently associating with, feels very cult adjacent.
The Mosaic Church allegations, yes.
Yeah.
It is very Hillsong adjacent.
It is so creepy. He wants her to be exactly like Nia. He wants a compliant, quiet, perpetually smiling woman who just blindly follows his lead and asks no questions.
Which is not Kristen.
Kristen Doubt is many, many things. She is chaotic, she is messy, she is loud, but she is absolutely not a compliant, quiet woman. Trying to force her into that box is a disaster waiting to happen.
A spectacular, inevitable disaster.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me to a realization I had while analyzing that agonizing oyster date.
No.
We really need to talk about who is actually in a real marriage and who is running a desperate PR campaign.
Yeah.
Let's debate who is actually authentic.
Oh, this is juicy. Let's get into it. I am going to argue with my whole chest that Nia and Danny are deeply, terrifyingly performative.
Defend your thesis.
Every single interaction we see between them on camera when they are sober feels intensely rehearsed. Think back to when Kristen confronts Nia about the yelling.
Right.
Nia immediately, without taking a breath, spits out this canned line. We have healthy communication, and we have a therapist.
It sounded very practiced.
That is a PR statement. That is a crisis management talking point designed by a publicist. You don't say that robotic phrase to your best friend unless you are desperately trying to hide a dark reality.
It's deflecting the reality.
The perfectly curated Instagram grid, the matching pastel family outfits, the constant strained smiling. It is all a highly produced performance to cover up the fact that behind closed doors, he is a volatile, screaming nightmare.
The psychological rule of thumb is that the harder a couple tries to convince the public they are perfect, the more bodies are buried in the basement.
Exactly.
I agree that Nia and Danny are aggressively managing their image, but for my nomination of a performative relationship, I have to look back at Kristen and Luke. Yes. If Nia and Danny are a calculated PR relationship, Kristen and Luke are an active hostage negotiation.
Oh my God, a hostage negotiation.
The awkward tension during that date night was palpable through the screen. Luke is constantly negging her under the guise of wanting deep connection. He complains about her natural state. He complains about her parenting focus.
It's all complaints.
They do not feel like romantic partners. They feel like two highly stubborn people who aggressively double down on a mistake because they were too proud to admit they got pregnant with a stranger they had nothing in common with.
Wait, that makes so much sense.
It is a performative display of settling down that neither of them actually seems to enjoy.
It's totally giving. We are staying together for the Bravo paycheck. It's giving. We bought an expensive house in the valley together, and now interest rates are too high for us to afford to break up.
Precisely. It is bleak.
It is so bleak. But if we're talking about bleak realities, let's debate who creates the most chaos, but immediately acts like an innocent little lamb the second they get called out.
Most likely to start drama and then cry about it.
Yes. Who is your pick?
Well, it is a highly competitive category in this particular social circle.
I'm going to forcefully nominate Lala Kent for this.
Really? Let's hear the evidence.
Let's look at the actual evidence from the crab boil. She inserts herself directly into Nia and Danny's deeply toxic, borderline abusive marriage.
True.
She makes a massive, dramatic scene about how Danny's behavior is triggering her. She centers herself entirely in someone else's domestic trauma. She turns herself into the primary weeping victim of an argument she wasn't even involved in.
And then
And then, when anyone tries to point out the hypocrisy, like Jasmine trying to share her own story, Lala just cries, gets defensive, and acts like she is under attack.
Lala routinely weaponizes her therapy speak to shield herself from valid criticism. It is a highly effective but deeply manipulative tactic.
It's so manipulative.
She uses words like boundaries and trigger to shut down conversations where she is in the wrong. However, I am going to have to nominate Danny Bucco for this category.
Dark side Danny strikes again.
Exactly. Danny acts like an absolute monster. He gets blackout drunk. He crosses physical boundaries with women. He screams. He aggressively flexes his toxic masculinity to intimidate people.
And then,
The morning after, when he gets gently, almost apologetically confronted by his friends, what does he do? He whines that he has a target on his back.
oh, I hate that phrase now.
He sulks on the sofa like a wounded golden retriever puppy. He claims everyone is out to get him and ruin his reputation. He creates a literal war zone and then cries about the noise.
Yes. It is so incredibly manipulative. If we compare this to real life, they are exactly like that one toxic friend in your group chat who constantly makes passive-aggressive comments, insults your outfit, tells you your boyfriend is ugly, and then
Then what?
the one time you finally snap and don't invite them to Sunday brunch, they post a crying selfie on their close friend's story about being excluded and bullied.
They are the arsonist who sets the house on fire, calls 911, and then loudly complains to the firefighters about the smell of the smoke.
Literally. It is exhausting to witness. But speaking of exhausting, who do we think is the most delusional person in this entire cast?
Oh, the delusion runs deep.
Like, who is fully, completely disconnected from reality?
Well, the entire zip code is disconnected from reality, but my nomination for the absolute most delusional person goes to Kristen Doubt.
Wait, really, Kristen? Unpack that for me, because I think there is someone much worse.
Kristen's delusion is systemic and deeply ingrained. She genuinely believes in her core that she is the moral arbiter of this entire friend group.
Okay, true.
She takes it upon herself to orchestrate the intervention with Naya, presenting herself as the calm voice of reason and healthy boundaries.
Right.
Yet in the exact same episode, she defends Danny's behavior to Jasmine, invalidates Jasmine's very real trauma by telling her she is just drunk, and completely fails to see the glaring hypocrisy in coddling Lala while dismissing Jasmine.
Yeah, that was bad.
Kristen thinks she is the evolved hero of the story, when in reality she is actively enforcing the toxic hierarchy of the group. Her lack of self-awareness is staggering.
Okay, I hear you, but no, I have to strongly disagree with you here. Kristen is annoying, yes, and her lack of self-awareness is definitely staggering. But my nomination is Jesse Lally, without a doubt.
Ah, Jesse.
Kristen's delusion is social. Jesse's delusion is actively ruining his child's financial future. Material damage always outweighs social delusion in my book.
It is a fair metric.
Think about the mental gymnastics required to secretly obtain a $300,000 government relief loan, squander it on helicopter rides in Scotland, refuse to pay a $200 child support medical bill, and then sit at a coffee shop looking genuinely confused about why your wife wants a divorce.
He was completely baffled.
He acts like Michelle is the one being unreasonable. He is the undisputed king of finance bro delusion. He truly believes the rules of basic economics, mathematics, and morality simply do not apply to him because he wears expensive loafers.
I will concede that Jesse's financial delusion is profound and legally actionable. It is a selfish, isolated delusion that causes tangible harm, which naturally leads us to evaluate what behaviors we tolerate in our own lives. What did we see this week that would absolutely never survive in our own friend group?
Oh, this is easy.
What behavior would instantly get someone removed from the chat?
I will go first because I have been thinking about this. If we were out at a bar or dinner or on a weekend trip and one of your husbands started screaming at you in public the way Danny aggressively screams at Nia.
Or creeping on the friends.
Yes. Or if a friend's husband started creeping on me the way Danny crept on Jasmine, it is over. It is immediately, irrevocably over.
The absolute zero tolerance policy would be activated.
We are not having a gentle, tearful morning after intervention. We are not talking about holistic wellness coaches or giving him grace. We are slashing his tires in the restaurant parking lot, period.
We do not negotiate with emotional terrorists.
We are putting his belongings in heavy-duty trash bags on the front lawn. That behavior would never, ever survive in our ecosystem. We would form a protective, physical barricade around the wife and excommunicate him from civilized society.
And we do not coddle abusive drunks.
No. What is your pick?
For my choice, what would never survive our friend group is Jesse's financial betrayal.
The loan.
Secretly getting a $300,000 government loan, keeping a six-figure secret hidden from your spouse for years, blowing it on a luxury UK vacation while your actual business crumbles into dust.
It's unfathomable.
I would hire a forensic accountant so fast he wouldn't even know what hit him. I would have his bank records, his offshore accounts, and his Venmo history subpoenaed before the helicopter even landed back in Scotland.
Yes.
The absolute gall to expect your partner to eat half of a debt she didn't know existed. You would be socially, legally, and financially ruined. Our friend group would dox his credit score.
We would print his credit report on a massive billboard on Sunset Boulevard. We do not play with money, and we do not play with public disrespect.
No, we do not.
Ugh, these people are so incredibly messy. Their lives are a complete disaster, but I simply cannot look away. It sustains me on a cellular level.
It is the sociological, anthropological study we never asked for, but desperately need to understand the human condition.
It really is. Well, babes, that is all the time we have for our midweek emotional damage. Snark Squad, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, drinking ranch water in your Croc slippers, and spiraling over the absolute chaos of suburbia.
We truly appreciate you enduring this psychological warfare with us every single week.
But before we go, we have some serious audience homework for you. We need you to sound off in the comments right now.
Nice. Sound off.
We need to know, is ranch water actually elite, or are we just easily influenced by everything we see on TikTok?
Please validate my newfound tequila obsession, or
Sure.
tell me I'm just being manipulated by the algorithm.
Also, are Crocs cool now, or are we just aging and desperately seeking comfort? Be honest with us.
I am bracing for the truth on that one.
And to the legal scholars of the Snark Squad, who did you side with in the TikTok child support debate? The mom wanting the lump sum, or the judge who denied it?
We also need your armchair psychological evaluations. Which cast member from the Valley stresses you out the absolute most?
Yes. And finally, who do you think secretly loves the drama the most? Because someone is definitely pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Always.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and please send this to your messiest bestie who needs a laugh today.
Your engagement feeds the algorithm, and the algorithm feeds our snark.
So true. And before we go, chew on this final thought. We've spent this entire hour analyzing how performative these reality TV marriages are, dissecting every fake smile and rehearsed PR talking point.
The carefully curated aesthetics.
Right. But it really makes you wonder, with the rise of perfectly curated Instagram aesthetics and TikTok relationship goals, how much of our own real-world relationships have become PR campaigns just to convince our friends we're happier than we actually are?
Something to think about.
Stay messy,
Stay delusional.
and we will see you on the snark side.